Morning, how's it going? We're back in my house, back in my flat, to do some senior yoga. Remember, got to hammer this home, not just for old people. I'm just going to do a yoga class that fits for what you've got going on in your joints. So, if you have a bad back, we should be able to, as long as it's not at its very worst, we should be able to kind of make this fit and make it work for you so you can avoid pain and avoid hurting yourself, but still learn a little bit about your mobility and how to improve your mobility and your joints and your understanding and your control, because that's what it's all about. As much as this is about stretching, my biggest deal is, that you can control what you've got. So let's just break that down. If you talk about hamstring flexibility, it's all well and good when you've got gravity and the weight of your body that you can touch your toes or even touch the floor. But if your hip flexors aren't strong enough to stretch the posterior of your body, like this bit here needs to be strong enough to do this, for that hamstring flexibility to come into play, for it to become useful, for it to be something that you can actually use in your mobility, in the way that you move around. Let's just think about that again with another exercise, or another stretch. Let's talk about a thigh stretch like this. So this muscle stretches obviously when you do this, and that's all good and that's all fine. You feel it all stretchy here. But if your hamstring and your bum muscles don't have the map for you to be able to take your hand away and hold it reasonably close to here, the length of this muscle, its ability to stretch, doesn't matter if this muscle here doesn't have its map to be able to find that mobility, because then that becomes usable. That mobility, that lengthening of here, becomes something that is into your map. We'll keep talking about that as we get into this. So you can start seated on the floor or seated on the end of your sofa. Whatever works for you is fine as we get started. And I just want you to fidget wherever you sit. So if you want to move your neck, move your shoulders, move your spine, just as we settle into slowing this down with your elbows and your hands heavy. So you push your belly out as you breathe in. Draw your belly in as you breathe out. And relax your jaw. Maybe even close your eyes so that you've got one less sense to interrupt you, to distract you. So I want you just focusing on just your breathing and how it works. Hitting full length breaths. That's breathing all the way in and all the way out. And then start moving. Let's try this side bend first. So your rib cage pulls down on one side and pulls down on the other. Pulls down on one side, down on the other. You keep breathing here, squeezing into this side bend on one side and the other, one side and the other. I like thinking about this movement as an analogy for every single movement, because you can relate it. That if you go like this, all of the flesh this side scrunches up, so you contract those muscles, and all of the muscles this side lengthen. Like we said, there's always going to be that opposite reaction to every movement that we do. So every stretch has a contraction on the opposite side, and that contraction is just as important as the stretch. So if I do this, and I just focus on the lengthening side, feel it lengthen, and it feels like I'm doing a stretch. Every time I lean over, I'm like, yep, looking for that stretch. There it is, there's that stretch. There it is, there's that stretch. But if I can focus on the contraction side, I can feel myself scrunch up that side, and it starts to make it feel different depending on where your focus is. And all of this movement, mobility, it's about your intent. It's about your connection to it from your brain, how your central nervous system can send that message down the nerves into the muscles. You can change things just with your intent. There we go. And then we're going to go into ankles. You want to have your heels down with your heels as close to you as you can. So you slide your feet back. And you can do this same with your bum on the floor as well. Just sit with your back up against something and have your feet flat. We'll try and lift our heels up as high as we can with the ball of our foot down. because our toes are important, and the bend in your toes, is key to how you move these ankles around. So you drop your heels, pick them back up, drop your heels and pick them back up, and keep breathing like this. Keep lifting those heels up. See if you can squeeze into this extension of your ankle, so your knees get as high as they can and your ball of your foot is still taking weight. So maybe you could lean forwards and push the balls of your feet down and feel like you have that mobility. And that's important, because every time you take a step, you come up on your toes. Then I want you to rock your feet side to side like this. You roll that ankle out, bring it back, roll it out, bring it back, roll it out and bring it back. It's going. You should be able to feel all these muscles on the outside of your shin kind of take a little bit of strain. You should start getting warm even. I'm trying to keep my knees still. I'm trying to roll out onto the outside of my foot. That's it. And then I'm going to straighten both legs out like this. And the same, if you're sat on the floor, you can still do this sat on the floor. So turn your knees inwards towards each other. So that's internal rotation. Turn your knees outwards. That's external rotation. Going in and out, in and out. And then I want you to hold your knees, just your hips really, but hold them in neutral. And pull your feet back and wave your feet side to side like this while your ankles are in dorsiflexion. So your knees stay still, but your ankles perform. Because I want to check in with every little bit from the floor up, so that we can see that each individual joint, individual muscles can actually do their job. And so to check that you've got an ankle, and your ankle's not missing out on work, and your knee picks up the slack and then your knee hurts. Because that could be happening. A lot of injuries happen like that. That somewhere in your body something doesn't work, somewhere else picks up the slack, and the bit that's picking up the slack is the thing that hurts, not the thing that doesn't work. So if your ankles don't work, they might not hurt, but your knee hurts. It's not your knee that was the issue to begin with. If we'd have fixed your ankles, they'd have taken some of the load and your knee wouldn't hurt, potentially. Just a scenario. It's getting tiring here, right down the front of your shins. So you're trying to pull those toes, top of your feet back. And then just point your toes and see if you can get dancer feet. So you're trying to spread your toes a little bit. Oh, getting cramp. Spread your toes and point your toes. So you're trying to get straight line from shin all the way down across the top of your foot. And then see if you can spread your toes at the same time. Fantastic. Okay. And then coming up into standing. So let's see how those ankles perform now that they're going to take some load. So you're putting some weight down into this foot. Spread your toes and just rock this foot side to side. So I'm going to balance on my left leg, look. If I pick up my right leg, it's still touching the floor, but I'm not putting any weight on it. I'm going to try and rock this ankle side to side and watch what happens in my hip, what happens in my knee. I'm trying to find this strong shape where I push everything down into the floor. I almost fall forward so I can feel my toes catch me. That's it. And I'm going to keep on doing this balance practice in this class because I find it's so important for everyone, not just for senior people. It's for everyone that we need to be able to load up one leg at a time, because that's how we walk. That is going to help keep you nice and strong and stable. So if we do a little catch like this, let's just explain what's going on here. I've got a little bend in this standing leg, and my right foot is forwards, my left hand is forwards. So opposite arm, opposite leg, and they follow each other. So that goes back, this comes forwards again. I want you to catch this little bit here. And we're going to try and do this a different way. We're going to pick our knee up. Oh, easy. Pick that knee up, and get this rotation in your torso. Maybe even think elbow to opposite knee. And you can. I checked to the floor just then. I pushed my big toe into the floor because I felt a little wobble, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong. I want you to try and get this rotation in your torso as this ankle does its work. And it's okay to check the floor and rest. Let's do like 3 more just to see. Let's start it from up here. So make this look like this. Look, so this opposite shoulder comes forwards, and then drive this back, and it catches. Drive it back and catch. Fantastic. Let's try this on the other side. So before we even start balancing, so you just pick up this left leg, tap the floor with your big toe, Your big toe pushes down, we rock this ankle side to side. Try and find where it can be stable. Where can it grip on? A little bounce in this knee, because I don't like it so much if the knee's locked, because there's no play, there's nowhere you can go. That knee stops doing any knee stuff, and your hip has to do it, because your knee can't go anywhere when it's locked out. I like to see it like this. But that's not between right and wrong, that's a preference, remember. Never between right and wrong. Pick up this knee. I'm going to pull this elbow forwards, bring this back up, back up. And I can feel what this balancing leg is trying to do. I can feel it. Maybe trying to collapse, but I've got it. By pushing my big toe down, I can understand my balance. And see how my torso rotates. And this hip flexor, a little wobble, but I'm alright, I brought it back. And this hip flexor is performing, it's picking this knee up. Yes, there we go. And that ankle should feel kind of suitably tired. Then we'll go into a bit further up the chain, we're going to look at our spine. So coming back down and seated. Again, if you're not sitting on a sofa or a chair or something, sitting on the floor works as well. I want you to put your hand on your belly button, your hand just on the top of your sternum, so your fingers kind of run across your collarbone like this. I want you to feel like you can get your hands to go close together by doing a little crunch like this. And imagine like all of the flesh down your back kind of stretches out. And then I want you to get your hands far away from each other as you can as you go into extension. Coming back down again, and back up, and back down, and back up. And see if you can feel how your spine performs just doing this. And this is kind of linear, it's just forwards and back. And I want you to see if you can rotate and rotate and kind of feel the distance between your hands change when you do this. Maybe try having your head facing forwards as you do this. Then try a little side bend. And then try and do this for me. So you cross your arms over and kind of still think about this distance between here and here, because it's all happening here. Your thoracic spine does rotation and tilting in a lot of your movement. So if you rotate your chest as far as you can with your head facing forwards, lean over as far as you can, and then try and bring this left shoulder back as much as you can, and back into back bend, coming across and landing in rotation and tilted this way. So I'm tilting over and I'm trying to pull this right shoulder forwards, and then I do a little curl, crunch around all the way back to here, and then I change direction, coming across, rotated, tilted, lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back. I'm getting this spine to do work, and then land, rotated and tilted this way, and then come across my body like this. Fantastic. All right, then let's have a little look at our shoulders. Let's try something first. If you put your hands on the back of your head like this, and pull your elbows forwards, and then try and squeeze elbows back, and pull elbows forwards, and squeeze elbows back, and pull elbows forwards. And this is just a little practice really, to find shoulders pulling back and feel what it feels like. No pain, remember. So if it hurts when you go so far, don't go so far. Only go up to just before you think it's going to hurt, and then come forwards again. Coming back and forwards, back and forwards. And then we're going to use this. So you're pulling back, reach your hands up, reach your hands back as far as you can, and keep trying to reach back, reach back, reach back. I'm just moving so I don't hit the sofa so early. I'm trying to reach for the back of the sofa and pick it back up, bring it back. I'm trying to touch my head with my elbows already as far back as they can go. As I touch my head, I can check, because I've got something to push against. Can I get any further? And I can. I want to try and bridge the gap between my passive and active ranges of motion. So passive is when I use my hands on my head to pull back, and my active is where I can get to. When I get to here, pull my elbows back, elbows back, elbows back. Yes. And even if your shoulders don't work so that you can't get your arms overhead, you can still do this. Let's just go through an easier version of this. Would be, you probably need to stand up, is to pull your arms back and pick them up, pick them up, pick them up until you can't go anymore. Just pull them back more, and then bring them back down, and reach back, and pick them back up, and reaching back, picking back up, and reaching back, and you only go where you're safe. So if anything hurts, we don't go into that shape. We try and avoid it so we don't get the inflammatory response from your body. You don't get that little zing of a nerve being touched and then it blows up. We don't want that. Okay, after we've done that shoulder stuff, we're going to go into some neck mobility. So I want you to put your hands on your knees like this and pull your hands back and make your head as tall as you can. So pull your head up, move your neck side to side. So see how hopefully you can see both of my ears as I go side to side, which means if I do any rotation, then this ear's disappeared because I've looked around. I want you to see if you've got control over your neck to be able to make it go side to side with no pain. Your neck is vulnerable if it feels vulnerable. Anything's vulnerable if it feels vulnerable. Then I want you to hold it on one side and rotate. You'll need to be slow and gentle with this because, like I say, if it feels vulnerable, it will be vulnerable. Breathe. Then coming over to the other side. You're trying to lean over and teach this neck how to perform in these shapes. You ever cricked your neck because you're yawning and you look over your shoulder at the same time? It feels like your neck's never been there before and it like seizes up. If you can show your body how to do all of the shapes that it can do with a bit of strength and thought, hopefully there'll be no surprises. Hopefully. Because your body's been there, it's learned that shape and it can do it. Okay, let's get into some stretches. Let's keep it on the sofa. So this, I'll show you how to do this on the floor as well if you don't have the space to do this on a long sofa. So you put your leg up on the sofa like this, and we're going to lean forwards into this hamstring stretch so you feel it here. The same deal is if you sit on the floor and you have your foot like this and you lean forwards. It's the same stretch, we've just got a bit of height to play with. You can pick whichever version of that works for you. I like it when people change stuff to suit them because we are different human beings. We've got different stuff going on. So let's look at this first. I want you to try and turn your knee like this a few times. And it's not your knee that you're turning, it's your hip, but it's an easier thing to check in on this. So this is internal rotation when it comes across your body and external rotation when it goes out. And we find neutral and then we hinge forwards, hinge forwards, hinge forwards. So we're looking for this stretch here. You can do what you want with your hands. You could use the sofa, so you could grab hold of the back of the sofa, grab hold of the arm behind you, wherever you want your hands to go. So even hands on feet if you want, if that feels nice. But wherever you go, I want you to know what your spine is doing. So if I go like this, look, you can see my back has curled around. I'm quite flexible, so I can get nose to knee reasonably easily. But to do that, I ask stuff of my spine. I'm not after asking stuff of my spine right now, I'm only thinking about this hamstring. So maybe you can sit up as tall as you can and bring your belly button forwards. Imagine like your torso kind of moving forwards like this, moving forwards rather than your head getting further forwards, which just curls your spine around. Not wrong, I just want you to know what is going on. And explore this, maybe rotate even, and just see what feel, if you can keep this stretch on and still do movement in the top half of your body while you kind of separate out the lower half of your body and live in this stretch and breathe. And if we're going to think about adding mobility to our body, which is in this stretch, and oh, by the way, it doesn't need to look like this. You don't need to be leaning forwards. If you can get a stretch and you're up here, that is it. Remember, you need to be sat up on the edge of the sofa though. So if we're going to have a stretch, we're going to learn new shapes in our body. Then your ability to create force in those new shapes while those muscles are stretched will teach your body how to use them. So we're going to create force by driving your heel down. So you're going to push your heel through the sofa and load up this hamstring so you can feel like it's on, like it's contracted and it's feeling something. And breathe. Drive this down. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Keep pushing this heel down, stronger and stronger. Try and find this tension. So I'm quite strong, so I can really push. I can like find a lot to push against here. Keep driving down, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, driving. And then I'm going to try and do the opposite so that we can create force in this shape. I'm going to try and lift your foot, but I don't want it to actually lift, because if it lifts, it's probably going to look like this, and I've not actually changed. It's this angle we're trying to get better, isn't it? We're trying to be able to lean forwards more. I want you to get this foot to lift without it lifting. So it's just intent, and you'll feel this on your hip flexor. As you hinge forwards, lift your foot. Hinge forwards and lift your foot. Maybe it helps if you push your hands down into the sofa or into the floor, whatever you've got. Keep lifting, 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 going 3, 2, 1, and we stretch again. And this time, I want to let your spine curl around and find that mobility. Breathe. Sit. And sitting up, I'm going to spin up this side of the sofa. We do the same again. Again, we're going to explore this a little bit. I'm going to rock this knee side to side. And find where this hip lives. Because all of this rotational stuff changes how your everything performs. Because it comes into a different shape. And then, try and find this hamstring stretch. Breathe. And then we explore it in our spine. So I want you to rotate, I want you to curl over. Try and sit up as tall as you can. And see if you can keep this hamstring stretch on. It might go off a little bit, especially if you sit up. You might be like, oh, I've sat up too far and that hamstring stretch is gone. If it does, you just find it again and keep finding it. And think about trying to bring your torso forwards this way. From here, from the waist kind of pulls forwards, and it'll kind of make your bum stick out behind you a bit so that you don't try and find this stretch here in your lower back, which is quite a common problem, especially with people with tight hamstrings. They'll missing length here, missing the ability to stretch here, so they'll find it in their lower back, and then their lower back hurts because they keep on finding that stretch somewhere else. Keep holding, holding, holding. Finding your mobility. Remember, your hands can do what they want. Maybe a hand behind you, hand on the side of the sofa can help. Just keep you, have something so that you can move your body around and maybe even sit up even taller. Might even help if you push this foot into the floor as you lean. That helps me a lot actually, as I lift my bum up a little bit. I feel like I've got a bit more control, and it gives me a bit of stability in my hips because there's a little electrical current running through all these muscles up here as I lift my bum up a bit. Keep breathing, living in this stretch. And then we try and drive your heel down through the sofa like you're loading up your hamstring. Load it up hard. It doesn't matter if you're not strong. There's got to be something that can give some kind of directional push here, so we can start learning about the connection to this. And it's also a PNF stretch as well. So when your body, when your muscles go into contraction while they're in their stretch, then your body will give that muscle a little bit more length. And if we do that and then lift our foot, we catch this opportunity to be able to strengthen the muscles in our hip flexors, muscles in our belly as we lift our foot. So if you bring your hands down and start trying to lift your foot, and lift it, lift it and lift it and lift it. Push your foot down and keep lifting your foot. So you push this foot down, sorry, and lift this one. Keep lifting, 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 trying to tense your belly, and trying to connect to this. It's all about intent, and then lean and stretch, and lean and stretch. Breathe. There we go. And then I'm going to go into lying stretch on the floor. So hopefully you're all good. Being down on the floor. We lie down on our back like this, with your knees bent, with your knees pointing up. I want you to just shuffle around a bit. Push your elbows down to pick your shoulder blades up and drop them back down. Pick your bum up and then drop your bum back down. Then pick up your right leg and put your ankle onto your thigh, and then I'm going to wave this knee around so it comes across your body and then pushes out this way. This knee comes across your body and then pushes out this way. Keep breathing and wave this knee around so this foot stays stable on the floor. Wave this knee out and back, out and back. That's it. Got a couple more. Then I want you to hold it in this position here so that knee pushes away from you. Then we reach our hands through and grab hold of this standing leg. So I'm quite flexible, so I can grab hold of my shin. You might grab hold of your hamstring. If you've got a yoga strap or a belt or something, you can also use that around anywhere, so you can kind of hold on to it from here. I'm going to hold on from my knee here like this. I'm looking for the stretch to feel here, right around the outside of this hip. And you can explore this as well. And if this is too far, too much too early, then you can drop this foot and still just live in this. And if you feel it here, then that's your deal. This is absolutely fine compared to this. They're both the same. This is just a bit further as we pull this knee in. What I'd rather not see is you curling your spine up, so you coccyx and your bum lifts like that. That isn't it. Try and keep you back flat on the floor and just explore this again. Maybe wave your foot, wave your hips side to side. Breathe. Just live in this stretch here. Then I want you to grab hold of your knee, grab hold of your foot and drop this down here. And just explore this, maybe straighten your leg up a little bit, push this knee away, pull it back in. Just live in this. And then we take our hands away. I'm going to try and own it ourselves. So I'm pulling this shin in towards my face. Keep pulling it in, like you're trying to own this external rotation of this thigh. Going 3, 2, 1. And then on this same leg, I'm going to just play around with this. So I want you to hold it in a right angle with your thigh pointing upwards like this. So you see how my knee is right above my hip. And I want you to do this kind of swing around. So go into internal rotation to external rotation, internal to external. See if you can feel how to make this hip do hip stuff. So you'll be able to feel it really deep in here. Try to get a connection to control how this leg moves around. That's it. And then swapping legs. So you drop this right leg down, pick up your left ankle and bring that ankle onto your thigh. We're going to wave this around. So you push this knee away, bring it across your body. Push this knee away, bring it across your body. Keep breathing. Push this knee away, bring it across your body. Push this knee away, bring it across your body. We're kind of exploring where this hip can go. As you push this knee away, you'll feel it a bit deeper, and it doesn't need to be that much movement. It doesn't need to be huge, like big swing of the knee. You're just exploring what you can do and where you've got control. And take your hands and grab hold of either your hamstring or your knee and just lean back and hold this stretch here. Breathe. And explore it a little bit. Remember, you can change this however you like. Sometimes I might even grab hold of my foot instead and have this hand on my knee. Sometimes I'll grab hold of just this and pull my knee in and just kind of explore the shapes that this hip can go into. So if you do this stretch the same every time, there's lots of different tissues that could be stressed by this stretch. If you explore it, if you kind of rock side to side, you'll find where you need it most. There's no right or wrong. So we could do with practicing every shape that our body could possibly go into so that it can take load. So you don't get injured, you don't hurt yourself because you've been in every shape. Keep living in this here. And then take your hands away, grab hold of your foot, grab hold of your knee, and pull this in and try and own it. So if you push your hands down, push your foot into the floor, take your hands away, try and pull this shin in towards your face. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Trying to teach your body that you've got control over that. Going 3, 2, 1, and then bring this thigh so it's upright, knee right over the top of the hip, and then we go for this internal, external rotation. Try and squeeze into the end ranges and feel your control, how you move this hip. Keep moving. Nice. There we go. And then just hug both knees into your chest and rock side to side. Move your ankles around. Try and find end ranges in the ankles. Fantastic. All right. And then sitting up, and we'll sit with our back up against the sofa on the floor, with your feet out wide like this. If this isn't a position that you can get into, then you can just sit on the end of your sofa with your feet on the floor and push your knees out, and that works as well. So I want you to just explore this. So your feet are as far apart as they can go. Mine don't go very far apart. It's one of my weakest ranges of motion is going out this way with my legs. But it's getting better because I'm practicing it. And that's how it goes. You show your body how to do something and you consistently practice it and it gets better. So turn my knees in across my body, turn my knees out, turn my knees in, turn my knees out. And feel this rotation here. I can't stress how important this is to what we do, especially if you only ever do the one thing. If your habit is only to perform in internal rotation, then you'll only ever be able to perform in internal rotation. As soon as you perform out of that, then maybe you hurt yourself. So, with your bum right up against the back of the sofa, I want you to put your hands on the floor behind you and try and pull your body forwards like this and just hold it. Realistically, this is all I've got unless I start joining in with my spine, so I can grab hold of my feet and curl my spine around and bring my head close to the floor. But that isn't it. I want you to see if you can sit upright and just lean into this stretch. Breathe. Keep pulling your belly forwards and your hands behind you. Keep pulling your torso forwards and hold. Keep breathing. We're just going to live here just for a few more seconds. Yes. And then sitting back up, your back up against the sofa. Pull your feet in and try and push your knees away from each other like this, and then drop one knee in without lifting your bum, and bring it back out as far as it can go. Bring one knee in, bring it back out. One knee in, bring it back out. So you're trying not to let your bum lift. If my bum lifts, then I can come all the way down to here reasonably easily. But I want to see where you can get to where you keep your hips still, and we're just checking in with how your femur moves around in its hip socket. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, it's more just articulation and control that we're after here. I'm not trying to get you to find brand new ranges. Movement is key. Like, get those joints to really know every shape that's available to them, and then there's no surprises. I'm not going last one. Fantastic. Then we'll flip up onto all fours. If you can't really sit on all fours, if your knees hurt or your wrists hurt or something, then you can do this up against the wall, up against the sofa. So it could be like this, which is fine because we're just trying to get our back parallel to the floor. Or it could be like this, which is also fine if it's your wrists that are the deal. Or you can even do it with your hands up against the wall, like this. Any of those shapes is fine. But we're going to try and segment our spine, learn how to move your spine. So push your chest up away from the floor, tuck your chin and pick your rib cage up. And then we'll try and untuck our tailbone first. So it's tailbone, tailbone, lower back, lower back, lower back. Coming down, rib cage down, squeeze shoulder blades together. And then looking up, tuck your chin, push your chest away from the floor, rib cage up, rib cage up, rib cage up. Back to this. And back down, and then looking up. So let's think about this. If we start again from this shape here, think about all of the flesh down my back is lengthened now. So I'm trying to lengthen everything down my back. So I push my chest up, and then I start trying to scrunch up all of the stuff down my back. So if I tilt lower back first, I'm trying to scrunch up my lower back. And then I'm trying to scrunch up middle of my back up into the top of my back, squeeze shoulder blades together, keep my elbows still and straight, and pick my neck up and back down, push the chest up, rib cage up, back up like this. All of the stuff that we do in yoga, I find this is probably one of the most valuable tools for being able to move around well. So if I do this before I exercise, I perform better, because I have a better connection to how my spine moves. And then I want you to come back to neutral, which is not letting your shoulder blades squeeze together, so they're up a little bit. Pick your belly button up a little bit, and then I want you to move your hips side to side like this. Like you squeeze obliques and squeeze. So see how my hips are moving and my shoulders stay still. That's it. Keep moving, keep moving. Fantastic. Then let's get into a bit more shoulder stuff. So from all fours here, and if you're not on all fours, if you've got your hands on the sofa or wherever you go, you can still do this. It's just the same deal that you pick up this right hand and you reach it under your armpit. So it comes under your armpit and then you reach it across the floor and drop your shoulder down. I'm going to stay in that position. If you're doing it here, look, on the edge of your sofa, it's still the same. We kind of reach it across and you drop your shoulder down. We're trying to get this arm to come across your body as much as you can. We hold it here and hold it and hold it. Okay, then we're going to try and create a little bit of strength, a little bit of force. I want you to push your forearm down into the floor. So your forearm pushes into the floor on this right hand. Keep pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. And then I want you to try and lift your forearm up. It doesn't go anywhere, but you just try and lift it. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Going 3, 2, 1, and pick this arm back up. We're going to the other side. So this hand reaches down underneath your armpit. As you come down, reach as far as you can. Drop your shoulder right down onto the floor. Just live in this stretch for a second. And then we start trying to load it up. You push your forearm down hard into the floor. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Breathe and push, breathe and push. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Going 3, 2, 1. And then try and lift your arm up. Try and lift it, try and lift it, try and lift it. Going 3, 2, 1. And coming back up. Then let's look at this shoulder movement, shoulder health, after we've just done that little stretch across here, which isn't only for your shoulder, it's also for rotation in your torso. So let's play around with the rotation first. I want you to just rotate like this. You don't have to be on your knees, by the way. You can be sat on the sofa if you like, but I quite like this position for spine and shoulder work. And then I want you to try and get this arm, hold it out in front of you, pull it across your body like you just did, but keep your chest square onto me. And we reach this back and try and pull it back as far as you can. Then I want you to try and turn your thumb down, turn your thumb up, turn your thumb down, turn your thumb back, down, turn your thumb back. So you're trying to get this axial rotation. Remember, in the hips we've practiced this so much, and it's just as important in our shoulder. Keep breathing and pulling back, pulling back, pulling back, pulling back. That's it. Come. And then let's try this on the other side. Just pull this arm across your body. Keep pulling it across, and then reach it back. Go back as far as you can, and then turn this thumb to point down, point it back, turn it down, point it back. That's it. Keep exploring this. Should be no pain. If anything hurts, don't do the thing that hurts. So if you can only get to here, and it hurts past it there, then don't go that far. Only perform where you can. So you can get this arm to pull back further. Clicks are fine, by the way. I'm getting a little click in this shoulder, but it's not painful. See how I've got to kind of stop talking to be able to make my left arm perform. It's just not as good at articulation because I'm very right-handed. There we go. And then let's just move our neck side to side again as well. Fantastic. All right. And then it's coming back up onto the sofa. Let's go into more hamstring stuff. So I want you to stretch out one of your legs, to your right leg. Put your hands on the sofa, and I want you to pull your belly down right in between. So this foot's still loaded up, it's pushing into the floor, and hinge down until you find this stretch here in this hamstring. Don't really like having this knee locked out, so if it can have a little bend in it, that'll be better. Keep hinging down. Try and get your belly to come down lower, but not trying to get this stretch to happen through your lower back. See if you can find this stretch here in this hamstring and pick your back up and hinge down more. Both of these shapes are right, they're fine. So if you go like this, that's fine. If you go like this, that's fine. If you only do one of them, I'd rather you did a little bit of both so that you can feel how that changes, how your back is stressed by this position until we can perform a bit more in this hamstring. I want you to start driving this hamstring down into the floor. So you push down, so you're trying to load this up, and it should feel kind of tiring instantly down the back of your legs. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Going 3, 2, 1. I'm going to put my hands here, and then I'm going to try and lift this foot up. It's not going anywhere. I'm just trying to get some resilience into this hip flexor that keeps trying to lift. Keep lifting, lifting, lifting. Going 3, 2, 1. And then stretch again and see how far forwards you can get your body. That's it. And sitting back up. Let's swap legs. This leg comes forwards. You've got to push weight through this foot as you hinge forwards. A little bend in this knee so it's not fully locked out, and hinge. Just see if you can explore this again. So remember, if you curl your spine around like this, then that's your spine doing a lot of the bending and tricking you into thinking you're going further. If you pick your chest up, you should still be able to find this hamstring stretch here, like you own it in this hamstring stretch. Keep breathing and leaning. Keep hinging. Push your big toes down on this standing foot. Keep hinging. Relax your jaw. Breathe and hinge, breathe and hinge. We'll try to get further and further in this hamstring stretch without making it come just from our lower back. So every time I think I've got more flexible, I check in with my lower back. I'm like, I still feel that stretch the same, still the same. And they can work as a team, by the way, to do this, but it's not as useful as just getting this leg to perform. Okay, now start driving your heel down, so you're loading up this hamstring. Try to push your heel through the floor. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, getting stronger, stronger, stronger. And breathe and get stronger, and breathe and get stronger. That's it. And bring your hands onto the side of the sofa. You're going to have to load up this foot here and try and lift your foot as much as you possibly can. Keep lifting, 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 going 3, 2, 1, and then stretch again. Try and get as far as down as you can, feeling that hamstring stretch. Fantastic. And then sitting up, and we check in with our lower back again. I love this. After I've done forward folds, if I check in with my lower back, it feels different again, because it's like I've been stretching this, but if I move it and articulate it, I learn more about how to make this happen. So it's kind of like I'm going belly button forwards, belly button back. But it's not belly button, because I could just do that by pushing my belly out. It's that my lower back does work. That's it. And last one. Awesome. And then we'll settle into finishing up with just a little bit of easy meditation. I want you to just close your eyes and sit up as tall as you can. Let your hands rest and let your shoulders rest. And just breathe. So meditation, especially at the end of a yoga class, it's kind of our practice for focus. Our practice for control over our mind. And a lot of the time, it's easy to just use your breath as your anchor, your thing to reconnect to. And it's lovely and it's right to do that. There's lots of different ways that we can do this. So sometimes I'll just focus on one part of my body. So now I'm not actually thinking about my breath. It's happening by itself. I've got to breathe. I'm focusing on my rib cage. I'm kind of following its path and seeing if I can feel where it goes. See if I've got afferents. See if I can feel the changes that I'm making to the shape of my rib cage as I breathe. And resting my jaw. It's just like I keep checking my body. And every distraction, so if I start gritting my teeth a bit or furrowing my brow, that's my distraction. I kind of acknowledge it, fix it, and then I'm back to the task at hand. And this is kind of what we're practicing. We're practicing your ability to take whatever comes at you and then redistribute your attention to where you want it to go. I'm sure you've had times where everything feels so hectic in your life and things keep on buzzing past you, and you've got to give that some attention, then the next thing and the next thing. And then you've found times where you've lost yourself in your task at hand. I find it a lot if I draw, if I do art. I can lose 4 hours if I fully connect myself to what I'm doing, or even notice anything else around me, and I get this kind of dream state where I'm productive and I'm doing something, and I take that task and I keep doing it, and I keep doing it, and I keep doing it, and I finish and I feel this little buzz, this little kind of euphoria. I feel like I can get this little moment of clarity from doing that, from only having my one focus, that one thing, and I perform better. I do the task at hand really well. And I've also had times where I'm juggling things. I'm like doing one task and then doing the next, and then I start another task. And sometimes we need that. It's never between right and wrong, but I feel panicked. I feel under pressure. I feel better if I give my attention to the task at hand and nothing else can get in the way. And we do better. Let's just have a couple of moments of quiet. It's only going to be 3 breaths where nothing makes any noise, which is hard. It's just those 3 breaths. You get good at doing that when you give it attention, when you practice. And that's all this is. Yoga, mobility, exercise, whatever it is that you are practicing. It just takes your little bit of focus. Like, you can get your clarity. You can feel what you need to do because you've got the task at hand and you are doing that task. And it gets so much better. That was so fun. I'm so glad you hung out and took your time to do some good stuff for your body. Please let me know how you are getting on and check in with me. Let me know what's happening with you and your body and where your weak points lie. I'll talk about it because you're not alone. No way is anyone alone in anything that you're going through. We're all very different, but we all have these similar experiences. And if you tell me what you've got going on, I will do my best to help you. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your day. Have a good one. And I will see you next week for some more classes. Thanks, guys. Bye.